Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily story with a chapter from one of my novellas. Before I start today's chapter, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this book and any of my other fiction, then they're all available from all major ebook retailers. You can order the paperback and hardback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore and local library if you requested. Also, if you want the AI generated audiobook, then you can get it from selected audiobook platforms and library systems like Kobo, Spotify, Barnes & Noble, Google Play, Baker & Taylor, Biblioteca and Overdrive. Now, here's today's chapter. I hope you enjoyed as much as I did writing it.
Chapter 2. The 28th of July 2023. Maidstone, England. Just for once Detective Graham Adams wanted to go somewhere without any murder, any crimes and anything he would have to investigate. He was starting to wonder if him and Betty were cursed or something, but if he was cursed, then there was definitely no one else he would rather he cursed with. He loved Betty more than he had the right to feel, and he knew he was always the luckiest man alive. Graham leant against the perfectly warm blue walls of the corridor they were waiting in, as the woman who looked like some mad medical surgeon from a horror film stormed up the corridor. He didn't know what he was up to, but he was going to give her 2 minutes before he called in for backup. He was a cop first and foremost. There was a dead body here, and the scene needed to be officially secured. Graham had to admit the walls of the corridor were far too plain for his liking. There wasn't even a bin or something, a bad sign it was a private school, and there were endless little brown doors shooting off the corridor. The interesting aromas of bleach, oranges and cranberry filled the air, and Graham wasn't sure how much of the overwhelming smell he could endure. It was a hell of a lot of stuff to breathe in all night. He was partly looking forward to going back to the pig head in a moment. He quickly realized he was being stupid. The orange smell was overwhelming, but at least it was a good smell. Zoe Quill shook her head at Betty. As Betty looked like a little girl at Christmas, she was so excited about investigating another murder. It had been ages since they had done a proper investigation. Graham might have been a floater detective with Kent Police, so he wasn't tied down to any single department, but he had mainly been doing paperwork for ages. And Betty had done a few hundred government background checks, but no investigations for a month. And the Federation was busy preparing for Private Eye next weekend anyway. Graham just hoped it would be a lot less murderous than the last one. "This way," the woman said. Graham looked at the mad medical surgeon woman as she stormed down the corridor with a very tall man dressed in a similar green lab coat. As soon as the woman got to the three of them, she collapsed against the wall crying. The man looked equally concerned. "My name is Dr. Albert Fitz, I am the operator of Dissection Live, and this is my wife Dr. Valentina Fitz." Graham shook both their hands. "Detective Adams. This is Dr. Zoe Quill and President Bettie English." Albert seemed shocked at Zoe. "It is an honor, doctor. I read your paper on DNA profiling in fire victims just last week, it was amazing." Zoe blushed. "Thank you, I wish we met after different circumstances." "Who's the victim?" Betty asked. Valentina shrieked and Graham wanted to comfort her, but he had to stay focused for now. "If what my wife says is true then it is Dr. Louis Gray," Albert said. Zoe coughed. "Yes," Albert said smiling. "That Dr. Louis Gray. Chief Medical Examiner to Interpol, the CIA and Europol for over 40 years. Graham was seriously impressed. They were all serious achievements. "Well done him," Betty said, equally impressed. "How can you know it's him?" Albert laughed. "He's been doing the shows with us for over a year now. He actually does the dissection, but if this was murder..." Graham looked at the woman he loved. "I'm sorry, Betty, but I have to call this in." "No," Betty said. "Actually, we aren't sure that this is a murder, and I would like to remind you of the school's security features. Graham kissed his girlfriend on the head. Of course, she had looked up the security features before they got here. This school has top-of-the-line security with motion sensors everywhere. All the doors and windows are locked, and all the exits are covered by CCTV. Graham laughed. You seriously think whoever killed Dr. Louis is still in the school? It's only logical, Betty said. And this is a 3-hour show. We could use the lockdown procedure, so we can even use the next 3 hours to solve a murder and have all the suspects in one place. Or, Graham said grinning, we could call it in, get the school swarming with cops, and the killer will walk out of the school after being questioned and run. Zoe smiled. You always were brilliant. Betty gave a mocking bow. Damn, Graham loved her so much. Is that okay? Graham asked Dr. Albert. I am a police detective, Zoe is the chief medical examiner and head of Kent Police Forensics, and Betty's, well, she's just Betty English. Albert laughed and Valentina managed to laugh through tears. That's okay by us, Albert said. But I cannot do the post-mortem, Valentina said. Not on Louis. Graham looked at Zoe. I noticed some lab equipment on the other side of the anatomy room. Could you perform an autopsy that would be admissible in court? Zoe paced around for a few moments. The anatomy lab is a real official lab, it is a controlled environment, and I am fully qualified. I know a judge might think this is strange, but everything is proper enough for court. And I could show the students my process as I go. Graham gave Betty a sideways glance. He knew they both hated the idea of allowing the killer to follow along with the autopsy, but if they wanted to keep everyone locked up for 3 hours, then they had to give them a show. Graham nodded in agreement, and Betty asked Zoe to send Harry and Sean to them, but one question really annoyed Graham. Where was the special effects corpse that was meant to be on the slab?
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.